This video is based on a true story. These stories are based on real-life incidents. Please respect the family and friends of individuals featured on this channel. Remember to be courteous in your comments. Many details of these true stories are gory and frightening. If you do not want to hear these types of details, please do not watch this video series. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode is called The Man-Killing Grizzly Known as Two Toes, and takes place in the still very primitive location near Yellowstone National Park. The year was 1912, and it was a bright, warm day in May near Crevice Mountain in southwest Montana. A 63-year-old prospector by the name of Johnny Graham was crossing the creek when his favorite pack horse stumbled. She fell flat on her side and had a hard time regaining her feet. Johnny pulled at the reins and yelled at her, "Come on, come on," trying to encourage her to get out of the creek. Finally, she stumbled from the creek and onto the bank, but was in terrible shape. Johnny looked down at her crooked leg and knew she was done. He sorrowfully marched her a few yards off the trail and pulled out his hunting rifle. The single shot dispatched her mercifully, as the old gold miner knew she would never recover from such a horrendous injury. A few days later, Johnny was returning from his claim to his cabin, a short distance from where he dispatched his pack horse, when he noticed the largest grizzly bear he had ever seen. He figured this big bear was headed to the remains of his pack horse and watched cautiously to see if his suspicions were true. He peeked through the willows and watched a robust and very healthy boar approach the horse carcass and start eating. Being a man of the backwoods, Johnny knew he was too old to stock up on a bear of that size, so he devised a plan. The next day, just after noontime, Johnny knew the bear would be full of horse meat from the carcass, so he carefully crept in and placed a large 60-pound bear trap near the carcass and stealthily crept away. He figured he would give it a few days and see if anything turned up in it. Johnny decided to swing by one day and take a look at the trap, and to his amazement, it was gone. The trap was heavily constructed of thick steel and featured jagged teeth designed into the metal. The trap's absence meant it was either stolen or the bear tore it loose and walked away with it still attached. Johnny began looking around to read the sign in the area and found some large bear tracks leading away and showing obvious signs of an impaired gait. Johnny warily followed the tracks a little over 200 yards down the hill. Amongst the trees, he saw the giant bear as he struggled against the trap. It was wedged between two fallen trees. Johnny thought quietly to himself how fortunate he was to have such an opportunity at a giant bear like this. He leveled his rifle at the bear and took careful aim. Johnny placed 2 shots to the bear's ribs, and the massive bruin collapsed and ceased all movement. Johnny triumphantly walked up to the trophy. He leaned his rifle against a nearby tree and unsheathed his skinning knife. This bear's hide was going to make a very nice rug for his den, he thought. As he approached the motionless bear, the massive bruin sprang to life. In a frenetic burst of motion, it tore itself loose from the steel trap, severing 3 of its toes. Johnny didn't even have time to turn to run, as the bear ripped into him, biting, clawing, and chewing mercilessly, but leaving him alive. The bear's severed toes and 4-inch claws remained behind as Johnny's only trophy, as the bear fled the scene. A short while later, a passerby found the miner in terrible condition and ran to get help after hearing the details of the encounter. The local miners and lumberjacks gathered together with their firearms and headed out to locate the bear before it could do any more damage to anyone else. The hunting party, hell-bent on revenge and eliminating the massive bear, pursued him until he crossed a raging river and entered nearby Yellowstone Park and its safety from hunters. Disappointed, the men knew what they risked had they pursued the bear into the park, and they turned back to check on Johnny. He succumbed to his wounds shortly thereafter. In 1960, Pat Welsh was delivering supplies near Soda Butte Creek, near Yellowstone. One night while sleeping, the 61-year-old woodsman was awakened by the familiar sounds of a bear in camp, raiding his supplies of ham and bacon. Welsh grabbed some pots and pans and clanged them together, trying to scare the bear off, as this wasn't exactly a rare event for the area. The bear was not at all frightened of the clatter, and actually advanced toward the man menacingly. Pat grabbed for the nearest weapon, an axe used for cutting firewood, and started swinging it to back the bear down. The giant grizzly easily swatted the axe from his hands, rendering the man defenseless, and proceeded to tear, bite, and claw Pat from head to toe. Pat's companion grabbed some Roman candles they had and chased the bear off. He tried to take care of Pat, but he succumbed to his wounds within a few days. His friend noted that after the attack scene was checked out in the daylight, the bear was missing 3 toes on his front foot. On the 12th of June 1922, a backwoods outlaw known as Frenchie was setting traps along Slow Creek, right outside of Yellowstone Park. His real name was Joseph DeRay, and he didn't really respect the law against hunting and trapping in the park, and pretty much did whatever he pleased. While checking his trap line one day, Frenchie noticed he had managed to catch a giant bear in one of his traps. He ran home to gather his hunting rifle and told his wife he'll be back by nightfall. He hurried back to the area but was caught off guard by the giant Bruin, who attacked the man and mauled him severely. Frenchie's rifle was found near the trap, and it could only be surmised that he was approaching the bear for a kill shot behind the bear's ear, but somehow he missed and the bear got a hold of him. The rifle's barrel had damage from the bear's teeth, and the stock had been torn in two by the angry Bruin. In the bear's hasty retreat from the scene of Frenchie's mauling, he departed with the trap still clinging to his leg and dragging the chain in the dirt behind. The trap was found about a year later, minus the bear it once clinging to. Old Two Toes was never heard from again.